I was scrolling through social media, I think a couple of days ago, and it marked that June 17th was the 7-year anniversary of the Fitzgerald happening in Yokosuka, Japan. And I was on Steedham DDG 63 from 2015 to 2018 whenever it happened. And I want to share my story when it comes to it. If I recall, it was a Saturday morning. My chief messaged me saying, hey, we're collapsing into 3-section duty from 6-section. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He's like, well, something happened with Fitz again. I'm like, oh, great. Because during that time, Fitzgerald was always having some type of engineering issue. And then he's like, no, they got hit. I'm like, oh, okay. And they need people to help on board. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get to the ship, and it wasn't until I got to the bridge wing and I saw them pulling in how bad the damage was. We had a muster with the duty section, and they said, hey, we want volunteers to go over there to help, whether it be with dewatering, engineering, whatever. And I said, hey, I'll help out. I'll stand like OD or something. It was myself, my OS2, my chief, and then my STO at the time. We all decided to help out. I believe my chief and STO were like section leader / CDO tag team in that. And I was like, all right, cool. And the Fitzgerald, when they pulled in, they were parked at the Ronald Reagan Pier over in Yokosuka. I forgot what the pier name is, or pier number, whatever. And whenever I get there, I had to take a van there. I couldn't walk through. And you see tents, you see buses, you see all these things giving out food, giving out clothes. Chaplains there helping out with whatever, because mind you, whenever they got hit, all the water came in through the berthing, so people left with what they had. So you'll see people with just PT gear and flip-flops or firefighting boots, and they were giving out clothes, they were giving out food, amongst other things as well. And I stood OD, saluting people on board. And then after like the second person, they're like, nope, don't salute me. No, we don't have time for that. What do you need me to do? And I was directing them to, hey, engineering needs help with this. Hey, we need people taking out trash. We need to do X, Y, and Z. So I'm seeing E1 all the way up to 06 taking out trash. There's no ringing of bells. There was no power on board. There was a list on the ship. There was a whole bunch of things going on. And seeing that happen was almost like life-changing, because you always hear people talk about the Navy in regards to, hey, we're going to take care of our folks, we're going to take care of our people. But actually seeing that actually happen in real life to that big extent really opened up my eyes to what it looks like to take care of your people and take care of sailors. Whenever I did the new day entry, and for the folks that don't know, the new day entries, once it hit midnight, you just really write the ship's condition and things that are going on. Most cases, depending on how you write, it's maybe 4 or 5 lines, if I recall. But this time it was almost like 10, because like, hey, we got divers here, we got this, we got this, we got this going on, we got this going on, we got this person doing a manual tag out log, amongst other things also. And it was pretty big. And that day itself was probably one of the biggest days of my naval career, both in a good and a bad way. Good, as I mentioned before, having all those folks in the base just help out the ship in any kind of way really just spoke to what it's all about to take care of your people, take care of sailors, take care of the ship, X, Y, and Z. And it was one of the worst, because it's not every day you go on a ship that doesn't have power. There's a list. There's people that aren't accounted for, and you're kind of having high hopes to make sure they're okay. And what really was still stuck in my mind to this day, whenever I did get relieved at like 1:30, 1:45, because I stood the 22 to 2 watch, there was a wife on the pier. She had a blanket on under a tent, and she was waiting to hear about news about her spouse, if they were okay. And I didn't know what to tell her. So I just said, hey, how's it going? My name is blah, blah, blah. If you need any help, let me know. She's like, oh, okay, thank you. And then afterwards, she just like looking dead ahead at the ship, just waiting to hear the news. And for the folks that know, we, like a couple of days later, they were able to get the people there. But I can only imagine what that person was going through, or the crew themselves was going through. That was my experience, and I just came on board just to help out in those 4 hours, which maybe I made a difference, maybe not, but I at least wanted to help out in some kind of way. And then the aftermath of it, as we already know what happened, I know the base ended up having a big like gathering or get together at the Next, and they were giving away like more clothes, electronics, and a bunch of other things for the crew, which I think was very good. But that's my Fitz experience. This is like my 10th time doing this video, because the other time I kind of got choked up talking about it. But I say all of that at the end of the day to take, of course, your job and quals seriously. There's standing orders and night orders and all that for a reason. If you don't know, ask for help. That's what the commanding officers, that's what they get paid the big bucks for, to ask questions, to ask for help. And just reach out to your sailors. If someone's out on a underway or deployment right now, reach out to them, make sure that they're okay and that they're in the right state mentally.